Friends, check out what one of my subscribers sent me. An M7 Bayonet. Pretty cool, huh? Let's put it on my Colt M4 and see how it looks. What the? How you gonna fight with that? Alright, so while we work out our technical difficulties, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it to one of your friends that might like similar content. That's what keeps the channel going. Thank you. Alright, so my subscriber actually sent me two M7 bayonets. This one here in its factory original, practically unused form, and the other one is slightly worn and altered. And we'll get to that one in a minute. But first, let's go over the M7 bayonet. Well, I'm not an expert on bayonets or military weapons. What I did find out on YouTube, that's where we learn everything we know, right? Is the M7 bayonet was used by the U.S. military for the M16 rifle and can also be used for the M4 carbine. That's what I got here, M4 carbine. And combat shotguns, huh? Pretty cool. Bayonet on a combat shotgun. Alright, so this thing was introduced in 1964 for the Vietnam War, and it was manufactured by a ton of different manufacturers, including Colt, Ontario Knife, and Imperial Knife. So let's check this bad boy out. We got these little spring-loaded clasps here. That's what grabs onto that lug on the bottom of the barrel. The barrel goes through that ring. It's got a nice checker in here on the handle. It's got a nice palm swell too. Fits the hand pretty well. Yeah, I got two extra large hands and I got plenty of room on there. It's got a large 6 3/4 inch spear point blade. Look how the kind of veers off to one side though. It's kind of an uneven grind. Both knives are like that. This one's got a nice point, but wait till you see the other one. Point's completely gone. It's got 3.5 inches or a little over 3 inches of sharpened swedge too. So it's double edged at the point. It's got a nice flat spot here. You can see that sharpened swedge right there. I guess you call it a swedge. It's a spear point. I don't know if a spear point's got a swedge or not. If you know, let me know in the comments. Alright, so let's grab the ruler and see how this bad boy measures up. Alright, it's supposed to be 6 3/4 inch blade, but we're a little short, about an 1/8 inch short, so we got 6 5/8. Alright, I'm holding it right up against the finger guard. Don't quite make the 6 3/4 it's supposed to have. Alright, the depth of the blade. Hold on, let me line this up. It looks right at 13/16. Alright, thickness. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to call that 3/16. Alrighty. Handle. So we got about 4.5 inches a handle, another 1/2 inch a pommel. And like I said, it's got a nice palm swell there with nice checkering, and yeah, it's not bad looking. You know, it's got a good feel to it, good balance. I can see somebody fighting with that, even though that you know, that guard on there is kind of big. You know, you got a nice finger guard, but that big old thing there, that's kind of unwieldy. Get your thumb stuck in there if you're not careful, huh? On your finger. Trying to choke up. So, sure has a nice pommel you can beat on. I don't know if those springs will hold up. Alright, let's look at the other knife. Now, both of these bayonets came with the US M8 A1 scabbard or sheath. Well, this one's missing a few things. You know, it's been altered unlike the original one there. It's missing some wire pieces, but it's stamped and it's still in good shape. The webbing looks good. Yeah, just looks like it's been altered, that's all. Doesn't have the strap. But let's look at the knife. Alright, so first of all, this thing looks like it's been in somebody's toolbox or digging in somebody's garden. The tip's completely worn off. It's got a lot of little nicks and chips in the blade. The edge is uneven. Somebody's cut the pommel off the end. Also, the mounting ring for the barrel has been cut off. See where the pommel, they sliced it there, which is a shame. They should have left that sticking out a little bit. Make it like a skull crusher out of it, a little pointed area. At least that's what I would have done. Now here we're going to take a look at this blade. You can see it's got a lot of scratches, a lot of little dents and dings in it. Spine looks like somebody beat on it a little bit right here. You can see it flared out a little bit. So it definitely could use a little work. And we'll do that. Now here's the finger guard or mounting lug, whatever you want to call it, where the guy modified it, cut that off and just turned it into a finger guard. You can see it's made out of stamped steel. Here's the original. Now check out the original on the right. See the gap between it and the plastic handle right there? See, there's like almost an 1/8 inch gap. Now, almost all of them have that, but this one modified one over here, it's nice and tight. Look at that. So did the guy get lucky, or did he do something and correct that gap? Tell me what you think. But, you know, it's definitely nice and tight there. And he did a good job with that. But I wish he would have left that metal down here at the end when he cut that pommel off. Because if he would have left that metal right there, that could have been sharpened into a nice skull crusher. You know, like I mentioned before. But now, if you try to beat something, you're going to break that plastic handle. But who knows who did it? We'll never know. But one thing for sure, we need to go ahead and get these handles off. And there's these 2 screws right here. So let's go ahead and get us a good screwdriver and get this handle off. This is one of my gunsmith screwdrivers. It's machined a little different at the tip. That way it doesn't strip out that slot. And we're going to speed up this video now so we don't drag this out all night. So I'm at 2 speed and I'm going to switch up to 4 speed here in a minute. So enjoy the show. So here's the screws. And they're rusty. Look at all the rust inside the handle. Right? Okay, look at the tang of the knife. Look, it's skeletonized. And look how they support that guard, that other piece of steel in there. Pretty cool, huh? Let's get this handle. Let's get these screws back in here. Let's set this out of the way. That way we don't lose anything. Because we're going to be spending a little bit of time cleaning up the other half of this blade. Alright, so the tip is ground uneven, and we're going to need to straighten that out. So I'm just going to take a straight edge and follow the beginning of the grind and just extend it all the way down to the tip, because like I showed you earlier, that last few inches of the grind is uneven. That's probably done on purpose for a bayonet, but we want that to be even all the way and our tip to be centered. So right there is where the center of our tip's going to be. Let's trace the other side real quick and get us a line on there before we start grinding on this knife. There we go. So now we know where our tip shall be. Next, got to set up our little Harbor Freight 1x30 belt sander. Get us a bowl of water. And get us some sanding belts. I happen to have a 120, an 800, a 1000, a 1200, and a 2000. That's what I happen to have. Actually, I found some more later, but that's what I happen to have at the time. So we're going to put the 120 on here and just easily, very carefully, just go ahead and get our tip shaped. And just kind of go down the blade and get enough metal off to get rid of any nicks or imperfections, so that we don't have to spend so much time on the finer belt. So once we get that, happened real quick, we switch over to the 800. Throw this bad boy on here. And now I got to change positions on you so I don't have the camera in front of me and I can see what I'm doing so I don't end up hurting myself. So it's a little different angle, but I think you can pretty much see what I'm doing. I'm not really worried about sharpening it this time. I'm just trying to sand the different flats and angles of the knife and get rid of the nicks, get rid of where they beat the spine and flared it out. I want to get that spine nice and straight again. And just any nicks and imperfections from the wear. And once I get that out, I'll start working the edge a little bit. So here you can see how it's starting to turn out. Starting to clean up, fairly nice. Nothing to complain about. I know these little Harbor Freight 1x30s, they're kind of Mickey Mouse, but it's really hard to beat them. You can get them for like under 50 bucks all the time. The belts are cheap and plentiful. And, the next step up, you're talking hundreds of dollars. They just make such a compact little thing that you can throw on a shelf and break out when you need it for whatever project. And you can stand it up like I have it here, or tilt it over and run it horizontal. You can put a leather belt on it and use it to strop your knives with compound. It's just really a useful tool for the price. Hard to beat. And up here I'm using it where there's no backer, so I get a little bit more of a convex grind on there. And that helps do certain parts. Here you can see how that backer only comes half the way up. And that's great for the flat spots. Really where you got to work it in there. But it's also handy having that area there that you can hit the convex areas of the blade. So anyway, we're not going to tape every bit of this. I'm basically just going to sand the knife until I think I have it where I want it, and then work up a couple steps of different grits up to the 2000 just to get the grind marks out. Not trying to make it perfect. I'm going to let the patina come back on this blade, so no sense trying to get it totally mirror polished, but I want to get as many of the imperfection out as possible. Alright, so let's wrap up the sanding and see how the blade turned out. As you can see, I didn't totally polish it, but one thing I do have to be careful, this thing is razor sharp and it's double edged, and it's got a convex grind on there because I used the belt. But you can still see I got some of the original grind marks. I got most of the scratches out. I cleaned up that spine, and I cleaned up that finger guard. I got that stamped steel, the rough edges off. I got it nice and smoothed out. It feels a lot better. I rounded the edges, and it just makes it a lot nicer. So, alright, let's get this thing, get the handle back apart. Let's get this thing cleaned up. We got some rust that we need to deal with, and what I'm going to use is my G96 gun treatment. You know how much I like this, and you can use it inside because it smells like almonds. This actually smells good. I'm just going to scrub these down with a nylon brush. Who knows what all's in there. And just get them as clean as possible. Then I'm actually going to take them over and flush them out with some hot soapy water with some Dawn and make sure I get rid of anything. Who knows, there could be dried blood in these grips. Might have killed somebody over in some other country in some war. You never know. I don't want any of that DNA on there, so I'm going to clean this baby up nice and good and make sure we got everything treated with plenty of gun oil. Even these screws, we're going to clean them babies up. And I just stick them in a rag and I actually screw them with the screwdriver and work those threads real good. Yep. Go wash these in the sink real quick. Back in a flash, and you get them good and dry, get all the water out of them. And then we are going to soak them down with some more G96 and just scrub them really good. Make sure we don't have any water left. Make sure we got them matched up right. And which side do we want the bolt on? So we want the proud side to be this side, so we're going to stick the screws in from this side and get those good and tight. And looking pretty good. So let's take a look and see how our little project turned out. It's looking pretty shiny right now, but that's not going to last very long. I don't think I'm going to force a patina. I'm just going to let it naturally come back. But I'll keep an eye on it. Now, I didn't get the grind perfectly straight like I wanted to. I would have had to go back and put the 120 on there, and it probably would have took me 3 times as long. And I really got more time in this project than I wanted to. I really didn't set out wanting to make a knife out of a bayonet. But like I said, one of my subscribers sent me these 2 knives, and this one is already modified. He asked if it could be sharpened, and I told him I would. So I'm going to take both of these and send them back to him. And I hope you enjoy. I hope he enjoys these bayonets. And I sure enjoyed the little project and making the video. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with any of your friends that might like this kind of content. Check out my other videos. Check out my knife giveaways that I do every month. Other than that, thanks for viewing, and you have a good one.